Hi, I'm Steve Mocco, going over foot sweeps today. Wrestled most of my life. Wrestled at Iowa and Oklahoma State. I won a national title at both schools. Wrestled for the U.S. in 2008 in Beijing. I'm the current head wrestling coach at American Top Team in Coconut Creek, and we're going to go over foot sweeps today. I've had success in foot sweeps at every level of competing. I've hit them from cadet all the way through to the Olympics. I've hit in the NCAA finals twice, hit in all my MMA fights, work on it all the time with all the guys there. I like to start with these foot sweep drills. Really important when attacking my partner, especially in a foot sweep, that I'm consciously putting myself on one leg, right? So if I don't have the balance or the agility for it, I could kind of like put myself in a spot where he could take advantage of me. So very important to do these drills. It's probably, they're a little tedious, but there's something I did probably 2 or 3 times a week since the time I was a little kid all the way up and through. Good time to do them is after practice, especially wrestlers. Put your sweats on and just, do them real easy. When we do them, won't be real loose, right? Like a typical wrestling stance is here, like good tight muscles. But when you're doing these foot sweep drills, want to come out of like a traditional wrestling stance and shake it out, loosen it up. I could always tell if a wrestler is too tight, because when they're doing them, they look blocky, like they're not moving back and forth. So when we're doing this, we'll be real loose, especially when you trip. A big problem with trips is if you have to be able to hold your balance. So like, think of it as like, if I'm too rigid, I'm gonna fall or I'm gonna stumble. So I gotta really be loose, almost like a surfer that way. First drill we're gonna do is he's gonna put his arms out and I'm gonna put my arms out. And we're just gonna hold on to each other's arms and make sure we're loose, right? And then I'm just gonna push him back over his heels and step in and pick up his foot. And when I'm doing this, I'm looking for leg placement and the feeling of his body weight, right? If his body weight's forward, I shouldn't be able to pick up his foot. So I'm really just real loose, just pushing him backwards and picking up the foot and pulling. And he'll do the same thing to me. He's just gonna push me backwards and pick up my foot, right? And I'm using my foot like a hand or a hook, right? A foot sweep is a single leg basically, but instead of using your hands, you're using your feet. So you're not kicking, you're not chopping. All I'm doing is using my foot. I'm gonna take it around his heel. I'm gonna pinch between the toe and the shin and kind of make like a little hook with my foot and try and use it the same way I would do an ankle pick, right? If I do an ankle pick, I'm gonna grab his foot and hold it. I'm doing the same thing with my foot. All right, so right here, I'm gonna push into him, pick up his foot. He'll do the same thing back. All right, and as you get going, maybe doing 1 minute each and stance in motion for a minute and run through them. I do about 2 or 3 drills this way. Next drill we're gonna do, he's gonna be over here and we're just gonna bounce, right? And I'm gonna stay on his back. It's kind of a flank drill. So he's going this way and I'm going this way, right? So if he's bouncing, I gotta be able to follow him. So as he starts to bounce, I'm just gonna follow him. Right, same thing, I'm gonna be touching him with my hands just to feel where he's going with his body weight, right? So as he bounces, a lot of guys have problems with this drill if they start to bounce out in front here, because now I'm not really following him. Right, so as he bounces, I follow. And I'm counting in my head every step he takes, and I'm moving with him. As he moves, I move, right? And when I'm ready, I usually, like after the third one, go to pick up that leg. Same thing, I'm working timing off of his motion and my foot placement. Right, so we go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right, and you guys could go back and forth on that, right? I could go down, he could come back. So if we were gonna do the drill together, it would look like this. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And he would come back. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. When you're tripping, you're taking a leg away from him. you gotta put him where his leg's not, right? So like, same thing, it's a single leg. So if I have a single leg, I'm holding the leg, I'm not moving the leg, I gotta take him where his leg's not. Single leg. Same thing on a foot sweep. So I gotta use my grips to take him where his leg's not. So when I pick this leg up, I usually like to pull down and over. I try and put his butt cheek where his foot was. So if we're doing any one of those drills and we're finishing, it would look like that, right? Same thing on the other one. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. The last drill from there I like to really do is like, just gonna go in a straight line backwards, right? So we're gonna get in a stance and I'm just gonna push him backwards. And when I'm ready, I'm just looking at his feet. When I'm ready, I'm gonna look in and just pick one up. All right, if I could drop him better, right? Pick one up. All right, and then I'm just working pressure, foot, looking for his ankles that way. Right, as his heels come up off of the mat, that's what I'm looking for. As soon as I see his heel come up, I know I can put his butt where his heel was. All right, the last drill we're gonna do, it's a good one. You gotta find the right partner. It's very good to do it when you're fatigued, so you're not like trying to dominate the drill. We're just gonna play a little bit, right? Inside trips, outside trips, but just play. Like he's kind of wrestling me a little bit, and I'm wrestling him. But the only way we can score is trips, right? And that's gonna build up those muscles. That's gonna build up that timing in kind of a sparring sense. Real important, I could wrestle on one leg because I'll put myself there. All right, very important to do those drills, get real comfortable with them. Once you kind of like learn the foot sweep and you have the timing, you're gonna do it from where you wrestle from, right? So if you wrestle from a collar tie, you're gonna do it from a collar tie. If you wrestle from an underhook, you're gonna do it from an underhook. 2-on-1, you're gonna do it from a 2-on-1. So I'm gonna show you where I hit it from, but I think drilling it and playing with it it'll start to turn your own. It'll develop into where you wrestle from is where you hit it from. Where you spend, the majority of your dominant part of the match is where you usually wind up hitting it from. So I wrestle from a collar tie a lot. We're going to start on a collar tie. So first thing, when we're collar tying, we're coming up to the back of the head, our elbows down, right? This is really important, this elbow, all right? A lot of people, especially younger people, that elbow comes up on them, and it's really dangerous to foot sweep because I can't really feel what he's doing. Right? If this elbow's down and he changes levels on me, I know where he's coming, right? We call it a shield hand, right? So it's very important, especially when we start switching collar ties and hand fighting hard, that we really focus on this elbow and keeping it down to the mat. All right? So good shield hand on my collar tie. Now there's no rules to this, right? You can make a living foot sweeping this way, right? The way I like to foot sweep from a collar tie is always the same side collar. I think defensively it helped me a lot, right? It helped me a lot. So as I push him and he's stepping back, I'm gonna step in and pick that up. I'm gonna feel it with my shield hand. Very similar to the drill we did where we grab each other's arms. But now this is not a realistic situation in wrestling. So we're coming to a realistic situation, a collar, right? Best way to come into a collar, I think, is to make good contact, right? Good contact, you know where he's at, your head's underneath his head, and you come up for your collar. Bad contact would be me reaching, right? If I reach, he's gonna attack me. His head's under my head, so I'm always gonna protect my lead leg. I'm gonna make contact with my back hand, right? Especially college guys today, you can't put it in the face, right? So you gotta go to the shoulder. If they don't have a hand in the face rule, I would use this as a catcher's glove, right? Especially if you're wrestling an outside wrestler, right? If he's level changing on me, I'm gonna make him shoot through this hand, all right? If you can't go to the face, then we're gonna go to the shoulder. Thumb down on the shoulder, so it's harder for him to post. And all this is let him find me, I'm finding him with my hand, all right? So I'm in my stance, I find him with my hand. Now I take my head under his head. All right, once my head's under his head, I know the risk of leg attack is less. So I can come up and grab the collar. So I touch him under his head. Now I can get my collar, right? Inside control and collar, for me, I think is the most effective because it allows me to go from one collar tie to the other, right? We always tell the kids, inside control, I should be able to touch his head with both hands. If he tries to touch my head with both hands, he can't unless he gets inside control. Now I can touch my head with both hands. And this allows me to switch collars, right? The more I hand fight and the more I can move him, the easier it is for me to foot sweep. This is a move that's easier to hit once he's out of position. You see it more effective later in the match, right? So the more I could get him to move his feet wrong or come up a little bit out of his stance, the better. So the best way to do that is to move him, right? To move him, make him move his feet. Pull him, right? And very important, when I pull him, I pull with my feet, right? I can only pull here with my arms, but if I pull with my feet, I move him way out of position. All right, when he's looking for a reprieve, that's the best time to set up your foot sweep. So we're hand fighting hard. As he starts to reprieve, I'm just gonna step in, right? Good shield hand, elbow down, controlling this side. And all I'm gonna do is that same little push. I'm gonna push weight to the heel. I'm gonna step in and pick it up. All right, I'm gonna take my toe behind his heel, pinch it between my foot and my shin, like I'm grabbing it like a ham. And this helps me a few different ways. If he doesn't go down, I can start to take his butt to the mat with my other foot until he goes down. All right, covering on a foot sweep, especially for folk style, I always say head on one side, feet on the other, and run through the hips. So don't look to put him on his back. If you get him on his back, it's a kind of a happy accident. Think of a foot sweep the same way you would an ankle pick or a single leg. You're looking for two. If you wind up with an underhook and he winds up his back, that's better, but all I'm looking to do here is cover. If he bails out, he bails out. If I catch an overhook, I catch it, but most of the time this is good enough for me, right? Head up, hips down. Another mistake a lot of kids make, they try and pull with their hamstring, right? They try and pull with their hamstring. If you're foot sweeping a lot and you're pawing at it with your heel and it's sliding off, it's because you're probably pulling with your hamstring. I want to keep my foot relatively straight, like a pole. Because if my hamstring bends, I'm going to lose it, right? So I want to extend his hip away from his body until I can move him down. All right. And then collar, set it up with your heavy banging. So as we square up to retrieve, we can square out. Watch pulling with your hamstring. You might get it, but over the course of it, I think it's a lot more effective not to pull. Because even if I don't get it here, I always can keep going to get him out of position. Yeah. Collar tie. Another good detail we do from this foot sweep is I pull his head to my chest. Right? I'm gonna cheat over here. I'm gonna pull his elbow down. My elbow comes down, and I want to kind of like restrict his spine a little bit, take it out of alignment, and pull him into my chest. So his forehead should be tight to my chest. So now if I feel it, I can take it down. I'm gonna also take his head and bounce it like a basketball where his foot used to be, right? So this hand's gonna turn into in my mind, that's what I'm imagining. Imagine picking this up and bouncing it down. All right, I wanna put his head where his foot used to be. And this is an outside in foot sweep, right? This is a traditional outside in. I'm coming from this side of his body. I'm picking up the foot and bringing it inside, pulling everything down. There's a lot of foot sweeps from the collar tie. This is probably the most effective late in the match. Third period after long hand fighting goes. He's looking for a break and you take it away from him. All right, continuing with the collar tie series, we're gonna keep attacking the foot sweep from it. This is an inside out foot sweep, and I hit it off of what I tell the kids is a matador, right? So this works a lot if you have a guy that's bullying you, right? You get your good collar tie, and he just starts driving into me, right? So a matador without the foot sweep means I'm just gonna use that shield hand to make a little space, because if I let him crowd me here, we're gonna get stuck. We're like two jigsaw puzzles, just like stuck in there. So if anytime I'm ear to ear with him, I can push into him, but I can't really attack him. He can't really attack me. And we're just in this battle, like who could push harder? Who's gonna control the mat that way? So I'm gonna use that shield hand to get off, right? Use that elbow down that we talked about, and I'm gonna get off. So now I have space, right? And once I have that space, especially as he's bowling into me, just like the move says, like he's the bull, I'm the matador, right? We always tell the little kids who usually wins in that scenario, the matador, right? So he's gonna bowl into me. We're just gonna take his head away from us. All right, I'm gonna roll it away. If he's charging with his head, I'm gonna take his head off of my chest. Right, if his head's in my chest and he's charging with his head, especially if he's a lot bigger and stronger than me, he's gonna push me back. So I might have to give ground if he's bigger and stronger than me, and then just turn his head away from your chest. And we're just gonna follow his head. We're gonna follow that charging direction. So as he charges, we're gonna follow it and climb up. And this is a matador, just a matador. We're gonna incorporate a foot sweep into it because it's good too, especially if he's an aggressive guy to pull a pin, right? Anytime he's in a good wrestling stance and I can pull a pin on him, it makes him unsure about level changing and attacking me. So I'm gonna use my foot to pull a pin. So our traditional foot sweep or our outside in, we're coming this way. This time we're going inside out. And all I'm gonna do is make a little space. I'm gonna step in with my back foot. I'm gonna kick shin to shin, back. And that's all I wanna do. I wanna move that foot back. Right, I want him on one leg, even if it's just for a split second. Even if you can't get him on one leg, it's just he's feeling the pressure go that way, that's better. And I'm just gonna hit my normal matador with my hands. Right, so I'm gonna step in, I'm gonna move with the outside of my foot, usually hit with the top of my shin. And just like I'm passing a soccer ball, right? I'm not kicking a field goal, just like I'm passing a soccer ball. Just gonna push it back. And my upper body's gonna follow, right? We might pull him all the way down, right? If we're lucky, we hit it just right. We might put him on the belly, right on his hips. But if we don't get him all the way down, we follow it up the same way we follow a normal matador, right? A normal matador would wind up here. It's gonna be the same thing. I'm making him guess with his foot. I'm gonna be right here. Follow my normal attack. If I get lucky and I hit it just right, maybe I take him all the way through. Right? Very low energy, very low effort. If I hit it hard and the timing's not there, this is gonna be like hitting a parking meter. So I wanna make sure that as I'm wrestling him, I'm moving him, I can see the foot. Especially if he's pushing into me, I can see that foot coming up off the ground. I know when the weight's on it, when it's not on there. As soon as I can get weight up off of it with my shield hand, I'm gonna move it and run through. Sometimes all you can do, especially on a real big, strong guy, is just get his head and his hands over here, right? That's enough. Right here, I'm stepping in with my back foot, shield hands down. This is a bigger reason why you gotta keep this down. If this is up, I step in, can't feel what he's doing. I gotta be able to feel him because I'm putting myself on one leg. Another reason why I like to do it this side. This isn't wrong, right? Guys do this. Guys do this. But personally, I like this. Because if he level changes on me, I can feel it with my shield. Right? Obviously, if he level changes on me, I take his head away from my hips. All right, the last one we're gonna show, it's not as technical as the other two. There's not as much timing involved, but as guys start getting worried about the foot sweep, I've had success with it, especially when they're worried about it, because again, they're like, you're attacking them. It usually leads into something else, but we're on the collar tie still, and all I'm gonna do is come straight across and pull the leg out, right? And basically this one, I'm using my big muscles in my leg. I'm using kind of force behind my leg, and I don't want to go shin to shin with him because I don't want to hurt myself. So I'm gonna try and aim for the back of his leg, like the Achilles tendon side of his leg, or the calf or the heel, right? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull on and make him step. I'm gonna take a big step out. Very important for this one that we keep our shield hand down and we have a good collar tie. I wouldn't attempt this unless I spend a lot of time investing in my collar tie, really bending him at the waist and making him pop his head up. But again, once you start tripping, guys start worrying about it. So the more we pull on their head, the closer his feet have to get to me to get his head up, right? If I could pull his head down because his feet are way back and he's worried about the foot sweep, that's what I want. Then I accomplish my goal. I wind up in short offense and I can hang on him all day, right? So as he starts raising his head up and his feet start getting closer, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm just gonna step way out. I don't wanna be square with him here because I'm putting myself on one leg. I'm gonna keep my elbow down on my shield hand. Way out, elbow down. I'm gonna boot this as hard as I can to the side. And as I boot it, I'm gonna pull, right? I'm gonna take his forehead where his foot was. So as I'm here, I'm gonna boot and pull. Right, and then go behind. Now on the go behind, because he's on one leg, I want to make sure I turn his head. I want to turn his head away from my hips. It's a good detail just in case he's a real good athlete and I have to worry about it. So I step way out, I'm going to kick here, hard snap, and I want to turn his head away from my hips. All right, where the head goes, the body goes, right? Head on one side, feet on the other. Same finishes. Head up, hips down. Driving through his far hip. All right, one more time here. And step way out. All right, all I'm gonna do is make a hook with my foot and I wanna contact it back here. I don't wanna do this. This could hurt me. Right, I'm gonna kick and snap. And a lot of times, they wind up falling on their butts. Right? A lot of times they're not ready for it, especially if they're battling hard and hand fighting hard. Just that touch is enough to put them on their butt. All right, one more time. Here, push in, step way out. I'm gonna kick hard, stop. Turn his head away from your hips. You can set it up, maybe go for this one. He steps out, step. We're gonna take a 2-on-1. Now this time, he's collar tying me. And anytime you want somebody to collar tie you, all you gotta do is put your head in their chest. They're gonna collar tie you. So he's gonna collar tie me. I'm gonna take my 2-on-1. All right? This is very good technique for foot sweeps because, again, I'm on one leg. If I don't like any part of this, I could always just break off and I'm safe, right? I'm totally controlling this arm. That's what we call in wrestling a control tie. Right? I'm gonna hold this arm secure. When I move, he should move, right? I should be able to move him from this position pretty easily. So I'm just gonna push off my back foot and I'm gonna move him. And that's what I'm looking to do. I just want him to do a little step, just like he did. Once both feet move, I know I could trip, all right? Now, I don't wanna pull him on top of me, so I'm gonna take a little step like across, and I wanna extend this arm and kind of twist him in his feet. And to do this, you got to drill it because you got to develop these muscles. All right, you got to develop these muscles. So you have the balance to execute, right? So I'm going to step across. I'm gonna keep my feet in a position that I could pull him into my shin. I'm going to find some real estate with the back of my head under his chest. Here. All right. All right, one more time. I'm here. All right, I want to move his feet. I'm going to step across. Now, when we land here, this is an important part. If he goes away from me, it's no problem, right? I'm gonna score. But if he comes into me, I don't want it to make a race over who's stronger, who's faster. Because I don't want to hit this beautiful technique and then wind up him running me over, right? And winding up underneath him. So a little insurance policy we're gonna do is, we're just gonna attack the leg, right? And don't use it to pin him, don't use it to, if you wind up pinning him, you'll pin him. But ideally for me, it's just an insurance policy. All I'm gonna do is pick up his knee and fold it over the other knee. And that's gonna guarantee that I wind up on top, no matter how big and strong he is. Right, so I'm here, he moves his feet, I step in, I'm gonna pull it, and I'm gonna come underneath this knee. All right, ideally my shoulder should be on top. I should be able to push off of this back foot. And all I'm gonna do here is just push this knee on top of the other one. All right. One time I'm here, I took my 2-on-1, I moved him, I'm gonna step around, my head comes in, and I'm gonna come right underneath this leg. All right, this is my insurance policy. Another good detail is my shoulder's on top right now. All right, my shoulder's not on the mat, I'm on top, I'm tight. So if he starts bucking into me, I just lift this up, hold it over here, head goes up, head on one side, feet on the other, head up, hips down. Basic finishing principles. Feel it off. I feel I can move both feet. I'm gonna step over here. As I step, it's gonna be a twisting motion, right? As I step, I'm gonna level change. If I didn't have the arm, it would look like this. All right, but I have the arm, I'm gonna take him with me when I go. Here, take a big step, level change. The back of my head, I'm looking to get underneath his chest. So if he holds me up, he'll give me a little hold, right? I'm just gonna step, roll my head here. It should be here. Here's my insurance policy, right? Make sure I wind up on top. You hit this hold a lot of times without the foot sweep as well. Especially if he's a taller guy, stiff arming you off, I could use my knee in the same way. So I could, if he starts pushing away on my head, right, all I'm gonna do is just post with this side. I'm gonna bring my head to his chest, and because he has this much space, I don't wanna take the risk of doing it with one arm, so I'm just gonna go for my knee. Same position. But it's the same footwork. Just gonna let go, post on my head. Come here. With the trip, I have a 2-on-1. Move his feet, take that big step, that same big step. I'm gonna keep my foot close to his, so it's easy for me to find that foot. All right, again with the 2-on-1, we're gonna attack him hip to hip, and we call it the kitchen sink. I'm gonna throw my whole body at him. And I could do it because I have a 2-on-1, right? If I did this in any other tie-up, I'd be putting myself in a little bit of danger because getting so close to his hips. But because I have a 2-on-1, I could go hip to hip with him. And if I don't like anything what he's doing, or if he's attacking me in any kind of way and I don't like it, I could just, shell off and reset. So hip to hip, all I'm gonna do is just like it says. I'm gonna hold this arm tight, shoulder on top. I'm gonna take my hip to his hip, and I'm gonna anchor up with my leg, right? I'm gonna anchor up right here with my leg. Now I'm gonna pinch my big toe out and my knee in. And that's gonna create like a gripping sensation on his leg, right? So I have a gripping sensation on his leg, and I'm gonna do everything else with this leg, right? I have to move him with this leg, because if he has weight on his foot, I can't pick it up. But because I'm fully committed with my weight, I could push into him and start to pick up that foot, all right? Now, as we pick up that foot, I'm gonna level change with one leg and extend it away from his body, right? So it's kind of an interesting skill. You gotta drill with it and keep playing with it, because you don't wanna lose him and you don't wanna wind up underneath him, because we're putting ourselves here. So it's very important that you're hitting this when you're confident on finishing it. Finishing it in practice, finishing it when you have a lead in a match, and then once you get the confidence up to it, you're going to attack it right off the bat, right? So I'm hip to hip, I'm pinching, I'm pushing, I'm gonna level change, and I'm gonna extend. I'm gonna take his toe to the ceiling, I'm gonna take his shoulder to the mat. Right here. Again, I'm looking for my insurance policy here. Right? This enables me to wind up on top. Even if I lose everything else, if he comes into me, I just fold this leg over, and I'm gonna wind up on top. push with this leg. Might be a little time here. We might have to wrestle a little bit here. Once I feel like I can pick it up, I'm gonna level change, go to my insurance policy. A lot of times when we hit this, especially if he's worried about it, he's gonna get real rigid. He's gonna plant his feet down and not wanna get tugged back. That's okay, we go right into our next attack. It's a setup for our next attack. All we're gonna do is take our foot out, step on his foot, and extend him. So I'm here, I'm pushing into him, I'm gonna start pulling him back. As soon as I feel his weight change forward, I'm just gonna step and extend him. All right, just like I'm filling up a bucket of water. All right, I'm gonna do it all with my legs. I don't wanna do this with my arms at all. All right, as soon as I feel him lean forward, I'm gonna put the foot down, step on it if I can, because I guarantee that foot's there. Right, if I miss it, I don't step on it, I'm still gonna go. All right, pull it down, extend it, bend with my legs, and extend it out. Now, once we get into here, all I'm gonna do is just trade my hands. I'm gonna pull this as far as I can and trade. And this, I'm looking for an anchor. Either butt drag, near ankle, far ankle, or spiral. Wherever you guys wrestle from. All right, so you just think about anchoring up so you're tied up with both hands. Shoulder tight, lean back, step, pull, extend, anchor. Now both hands are on him. I want to put him on his far hip. Now I know I got him beat. I got my points. Once you can attack both directions from this 2-on-1, you could really take time either way. So force him back. If he leans forward, pull him out. A lot of athletic guys, once we snap, we can lose him, right? So his natural reaction, if I pull him down to the mat, is to square up to me. And he's an athlete, so I don't want to chase him, right? I did my job. I made him react to me. I compromised his position. I have to have the discipline to wait for him, right? I have to wait for him, because if I chase him and he's faster than me, I'm not going to catch him, right? If I'm faster than him, then I'm going to catch him and it's fine. But as he squares up, I snap him down, I'm just gonna wait for him. I know where he's gonna be. He's gonna come square up to me. I'm gonna meet him with my shoulder. All right? I'm gonna aim right for the top of his spine, where his skull meets his head, with this shoulder, because he's moving, he's squaring up, boom. Now I can pull him down and finish my front headlock. All right? Hip to hip, I'm attacking. He starts squaring up. Pull him down. Finish my front headlock. Take it 2-on-1. Pull it him up. Down, he's squaring up. Ride him into that shoulder. Now I'm gonna move my feet. I'm gonna take this foot, this knee, to where this foot is. Come up and find him. Anchor up. Any finish from here that you guys like. Whatever your favorite finish is. If he's on his elbow, put weight on it and beat him. One more time. If I could get that foot up in the air, I can take it back. A lot of times he knows it's coming and he plants, but there's nothing he can do about it anyway, because I could get it up.